Let's see, I wonder if we're live. Are we live yet? That is the question. It looks like we are live. Looks like we're live. Great. Welcome. Welcome to Kawasaki. Welcome to an anonymous residential neighborhood in Kawasaki. I was a little bit late, so I didn't really get the chance to start at my usual starting point. Instead, I will walk there. But yeah, one of you during my last live stream was like, oh, can't you do a Kawasaki walk again soon? And I was like, hell yeah, I enjoy this random little walk through this quiet neighborhood in Kawasaki. And today I'm quite busy, so I don't really have that much time to go anywhere far. So I thought, yeah, let's do the Kawasaki walk today. So here we are. As you can see, it's a pretty gloomy day here. It's gray. It's currently 25 degrees, gonna go up to 30 today, so quite a warm day. Yes, Justin, it was you who asked for it, so I hope you're happy now. Here you go, this one's for you. So yeah, just a short little walk before I start take all my other work today. I have quite a lot of things to do, but I think I should have like an hour or maybe even an hour and a half or something like that today. So for those of you who don't know, Kawasaki is just south of Tokyo. So actually, once we get a few more meters down this road, we can see some buildings that are on the Tokyo side of things. But now we are on the south side of Tama River, and that's Kanagawa Prefecture and Kawasaki City. So that's where we are today. And yeah, if you are a new viewer to my channel, you should know that this is a walk I did so many times before. It's one I often do when I have to like test some new equipment, because I kind of know that the signal is very stable in this area, and it's just also an area that I kind of enjoy walking through. So, and it seems like some of my viewers are also pretty fond of this little place. But it's really like, it's nothing special. It's like I think a relatively cheap neighborhood to live. Kind of boring in a way, in the sense that there are no shops. There's hardly, not even any convenience stores around here. But I do kind of enjoy this little elevated green pathway here, which I will now go up on. So there we are. Now this should be quite familiar to most of you. So the high rises you see over there, those are in Tokyo. So Tokyo is basically, I don't know, a couple of 100 meters away from here, but this is not Tokyo. George, it's your first time in this channel. Yeah, I know, I've never seen you around. Who are you? Where are you from? Thanks for joining. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, there are not many convenience stores around here. I don't even know where the nearest one is. There is like a tiny little supermarket a couple of 100 meters that way. But yeah, very few convenience stores, no coffee shops, no other things that makes life worth living. But still, for some weird reason, I do enjoy this little walk. So I'll probably go up the hill and then down again on the other side, and then maybe head over towards Mizunokuchi station and wrap things up around there. Of course, there's no convenience stores, there's not much else, but at least there is this big golf bag attached to an electricity pole, so at least there's that. At least there's that. Oh, this looks new. All these houses look like they might just have popped up. Don't remember seeing these before, and I have to revisit some old video to see if this place was under construction few months ago. But this is very typical, like cheap Japanese houses. You often see them pop up in groups like this. Some developer buys a chunk of land and just build a couple of near identical houses. Very cheap quality. It's not where I would like to live, but for some reason those kind of houses are popular here. I mean, you don't have a garden. You do have your own little parking space, which I guess is a selling point to some. Don't know how much a house like that is, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually paid more for the land than for the house itself, which is often the case in the greater Tokyo area. Oh, I didn't know this. These flowers, these are actually, I think they're called spider lilies in English, and they're very much in season right now. There's a few places that are quite famous where you have like large fields just covered with these flowers. It's quite beautiful. When they grow individually like this, they're not as eye-catching, I guess. I mean, they still have kind of an interesting shape though. But yeah. And Luke, you're leaving tomorrow. That is great. Welcome in advance. Where are you gonna stay? It would be nice if we could meet up for a coffee or something. I'm gonna be quite busy, but if you have time to come out for a coffee in Futaku Tamagawa, that would be great. Let me know. Should I go straight from here or should I? No, let's go down this way. Yeah, Minnie would love those flowers for sure. Now I realize there is actually one convenience store not too far from here. So there is one at least. A little Lawson, I believe. But compared to most neighborhoods, it's very kind of, yeah, far between the convenience stores around here. Look at the map actually. I want to see, who knows, maybe some new coffee shop or something opened around here. That would be a very pleasant surprise, because I do feel the need for a good coffee. You're staying next to Skytree. I see. That's, yeah, pretty much the complete opposite of town from where I live, but at least you can get to Futaku Tamagawa without changing trains, so it's an hour-long train ride though. But yeah, Friday you're going to Yokohama. I see. Yeah, let's talk more on Patreon, Luke. I'm actually going to Yokohama tomorrow for a photo session there. So yeah, if you look at, like, this is around Mizunokuchi station, for example. There's plenty of coffee shops here, but around where I am now, There's a Lawson, there's a Dottor, there's a Life, which is just a supermarket, and another Lawson. No coffee shops. Family Mart. What's this one? Taro and Hanako. Oh, it's closed. It looks like a Kisatan with pretty poor reviews. Kawasaki, nice. Thank you, Claudia. Good to see that some people are happy to see this walk again. So over there you see maybe the traffic light. I don't know if you can see it, but over there is actually Tama River. So we're very close to the river. But I will not head that direction, I will head this way. Hand reveal, yeah. How's the weather over there? I just did a weather check in the beginning of the walk, but let's do another one. It is 26 degrees now. And it's gonna be 30 later today. Hand reveal, yes. So here's the little supermarket I was talking about down there, My Basketto, which is this tiny supermarket chain. It almost feels like a kind of mix between a proper supermarket and a convenience. The shops are usually very tiny and their selection is not that great, but in some neighborhoods that's all you have. Morning, Daniel and Yuka. Hey, you must be leaving Japan very soon. Today? Hope you guys are doing great. And that you managed to sort out all your stuff last weekend. Let's see, are there any fish in the river? This river does not look that clean actually. It's like everything is a little bit less nice on this side of Tama River compared to around Futako Tamagawa on the Tokyo side. There the rivers are cleaner, the houses are nicer, everything just feels a little bit better. Here it feels like, I don't know, a little bit cheaper, poorer, less well maintained. The river isn't too dirty. Well, not terribly dirty maybe, but compared to many others, I see like some trash everywhere and it just doesn't look very nice. Oh, I see a little group of fish over there. At least they can still live there. That's good. Is this Saitama? No. Opposite side, the Saitama south of Tokyo, aka Kawasaki. Best season for beer. Yeah, it's not a bad. I'm actually quite sweaty right now. It is a bit humid today, so a beer wouldn't be wrong, but yeah, I'll stick with an iced coffee for today. I'm gonna work after this, so Beer before work is not a good thing.福岡についてどう思う？どう思う？福岡なんか街について、そして最近のちょっと変な事件についてちょっと質問ちょっとわかんない。Greetings, Tokyo Explorer. How are you doing, friendo? Thank you, thank you. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's a nice-ish morning here. I'm glad I have a little bit of time so that I can do this live stream before I get on with today's workload. Yeah, all good, all good. Massive residential building that I often pass. Sure, they have a nice view from the upper floors, but location is a little bit inconvenient. Nearest station is probably at least 15 minutes walk away, which is considered quite far by greater Tokyo area standards. Tokyo 以外に行く予定ありますか？特にないですね。来月まあ1回河口湖行くんですけど、富士山の近い湖。でもそれは撮影のためにライブできるかどうかはちょっとわかんないね。それ以外は今特に予定ない。冬は沖縄行きたいんですけど、いつかはまだ決めてないです。What 変な事件 are you talking about, Fukuoka? So it was in the news recently. Very, very strange. Just give me a second and I will bring it up for you. This was the weird news related to Fukuoka recently. So about that, someone wrote on Twitter, pics or it didn't happen. I would like to see that group of 20 naked men wearing garter belts running around in a Fukuoka suburb. Iつか一緒に公園でビール飲みたいな。そうね。いつかもし東京に来たら、ぜひ連絡してください。 indeed a very strange little thing that happened in Fukuoka that I definitely hope we will hear more about in the future. Some follow-up reporting would be highly appreciated. Okay, time to get even more sweaty. Time to climb this little hill. Is that a hero? Look at that crazy bird. Am I using an Apple Watch with a Samsung phone? No, I'm using an iPhone. I mean, I'm using both, but the iPhone is what I use with the Apple Watch, and I'm using an iPhone for my streams. My Samsung phone is my secondary phone. So yeah. Hello, Nasimur Rahman. Why the thumbs down? Don't you love me? What's wrong? Here we have this Edo era irrigation water dividing thingy, Fuji Ento Bunsui, which is some sort of cultural heritage around here. Miller, first tea stream in months, exciting, yay, good to see you here again, buddy. Yeah, I haven't been streaming much since when I was in Sweden over the summer. It was like 3 months with only one live stream. But since coming back to Japan almost 3 weeks ago, I've been streaming quite frequently again. Back. It's good to walk with you all again. However, I must say I'm a little bit disappointed. It's been almost 30 minutes of walking today and so far 0 super chats. How am I supposed to afford a coffee today? Whew. Yeah, it is. I think the humidity is quite high. Let me check. Feels kind of sticky. Yeah, 83% humidity. Hopefully you're enjoying streaming again. Yes, I am. Very much, actually. Going away from Japan for a couple of months is always a good thing, because then it's really exciting to be back here again. I'm so lucky that I have the means to do that every year. Because if I'm stuck in Japan forever, this place can be a bit tiring and almost depressing. But once you go away for a couple of months, you understand all the good things about it again. Soon we get to this nice lookout point where you have a pretty good view of Tokyo. But I think the air is a bit hazy today, so it's not super clear. I don't think we'll be able to see Skytree today, for example. It's humid and you're climbing up a hill. Yes, I am. And once again I get reminded of how poor my stamina is. Oh, I was wrong. No, wait, let me zoom in here. Probably Tokyo Tower we can see. That skinny tower, yeah, that's Tokyo Tower, not Skytree. Skytree is probably a little bit too far away from here. But yeah, still quite a nice view. And a good opportunity to see what the 10 times camera on the Galaxy can do. There we go. Not too bad. Okay, let's continue. Can you do more night walks? Night walks are a little bit tricky for me because of my work schedule and the fact that I have a daughter who is home at night. So yeah, I try to do it. I hope to really enjoy night walks myself, but it's a little bit more difficult to find the time for those. This is probably a good thumbnail photo. Potential. Oh look, the sun just came out. Nice. Actually, let me show you this. So with the Samsung, if I do zoom in, I don't know if you can see it, but that is Skytree there in the middle of the frame. It's very, very faint, but it is visible. Just so part of your face. Congratulations, Lombardi. That happens every once in a while. And of course, those of you who are supporting me on Patreon get to see my face quite on my Patreon only streams, which I still will try to do one before the end of this month. I will try to get back to the monthly Patreon only live streaming thingy again soon. There hasn't been many while I was away, but now that I'm back in Japan, I feel it's appropriate to start doing those again. Whew, we crossed the hill. From here it's downwards. Kind of like this view as well. You really see how dense the neighborhoods are here once you get elevated. Why don't you interact more with people in the streets? Generally, it's not considered good manners to just approach people when you're live streaming in Japan. And also I like to do it this way. If you want to watch something else, then I'm sure there's better channels for you. But I like to do things my way, and that's what I'm doing on my channel. So let's get a coffee. I remember like one time somewhere up here I bumped into some like tiny little coffee stand or something. No idea where that was. I think it's just safer to head down. There's a 7-Eleven down here, so I think I'll just go there for my coffee and then start walking back towards Mizonokuchi, where I will wave goodbye to you. Bakaporu, yeah, I'm very glad that that guy got finally arrested. What he was doing was just appalling. Doing these live streams is kind of like balancing a fine line, because I really, I just want to show Japan and show my everyday walks and what normal life is around here. But at the same time, people here are very kind of conscious and worried about their privacy, and I'm trying my best to respect that. But at the same time, of course, those interactions with other people, like when they happen and when it works, it's really nice. So, for example, Coffee Person or Papa Noel or a few other similar things that have happened throughout the years. It's very nice. I wish I could do that more, but it's also, you know, it's a very, very fine balancing act to approach someone while streaming, trying to see if they are okay, if they are comfortable with me talking to them, and yeah, those kind of things. When will the leaves start changing color? Late October, yeah, probably late October, November. I think peak autumn in Tokyo is gonna be like late November, early December. So even later than usual this year, because this has been a very, very hot summer, hot and long summer. I mean, it's gonna be 30 degrees now, and we're at the end of September. It's usually not this hot this late of the year. Oh yeah, a rating for that park. It was not so sad. It had greenery, it had some fun play stuff. I would say maybe 2 out of 5 of my sadness rating, where 5 is of course the ultimate sad playground and 1 is not sad at all. I'd say yeah, 2.5 out of 5. Temperature does Tokyo usually get around the winter? Don't remember. Freezing is quite unusual. Usually it's a few degrees, I think, above freezing. It feels pretty cold because many of the houses here in Japan are like kind of poorly built, and it can be as cold inside as it is outside before you switch on heating. But fortunately, finally, the place where I live with my family, that's a modern, solid structure, well built and well isolated. So our home is not like that. But when I was a poor student in Japan, I lived in a house like, I don't know, something like this, like very cheap, older Japanese house, and that was like really, really cold inside. Only like 1 pane windows, often like holes around the windows where cold air was just blowing in. What is the main staple of your diet in Japan? Is it different than in Sweden? Yeah, I love Japanese food, so we eat a lot of Japanese food at home. We eat a lot of rice. The rice here is really good. Whenever we go back to Sweden, we're kind of like, both me and my wife are kind of struggling, because the quality of the rice that we can find in Sweden is just, it's completely different and not good at all. So yeah, rice. Eat way more fish here, of course. I love sushi and sashimi and eat it very often here. Might actually have sushi for lunch today. Feeling like that would be a good day, a good thing to eat today because it's quite hot, and sushi is nice. Cold food is nice when it's hot. Am I worried about my daughter when she's old enough to travel around by herself in such a big city? No. I would be much more worried in other places because Japan is very, very safe. So her safety is not something I'm feeling any concern about as long as we're in Japan. Quite the opposite. Here in Japan you often see like small school children traveling alone on the trains, and that's common and normal here, and that's kind of a testament to how safe it is, I guess. Is it true that it's hard making friends because most of them are shy? I think it's kind of tricky here in Japan. Like it's easy, like when I first came here when I was young, it was very easy to make like friends or like drinking buddies. Like when you go out, when there's alcohol involved, people here tend to be very, very social and friendly and easygoing. However, as a Swede, in our culture, we, you know, like I would say that we define true friendship as, you know, having someone who you can talk about anything to, like talk about your deepest secrets or your deepest like problems or whatever, like that kind of like yeah, being very open to each other. And I think the Japanese culture is not really yeah, that's not a very common thing here in Japan. I feel that many interpersonal relationships in Japan are on a much more shallow level. So yes and no. Also depends, of course, on your age and what kind of people you're around. If you're in a big city like Tokyo and if you go out a lot, then yeah, people are generally very curious and willing to get to know you. But I'm imagining that it might be difficult if you live in a smaller town in the countryside maybe. Then I guess people are a bit more reserved. No, Susan, you can't compare Japan with other Asian countries. Japan is Japan. It's very like there's very little resemblance of how things are in Vietnam. It's, you know, it's like, I don't know, comparing the US to Mexico, like different cultures, different safety standards, either though I guess neither US or Mexico are particular safe countries, so maybe that was a bad comparison. But yeah, Japan is Japan, and Japan is, in terms of safety, I think Japan is quite unique. There's a handful of other Asian countries that has kind of similar safety level, like maybe South Korea, but no. Did I feel the earthquake this morning? No, I did not feel an earthquake this morning. Didn't know there was one. Being fluent in Japan helps. Yeah, absolutely. Knowing Japanese helps, of course, because most people here in Japan don't speak English. So if you can't communicate with someone, it's quite difficult to become friends with them. But yeah. George, you have really bad food smell. Oh, that's no secret. We all know that. We can all feel it. You know, it's so bad that none of us watching this stream is unaware of it. It really goes through the internet, through the YouTube channel, and your smell is coming out of the USB ports of the computers and phones of everybody watching this. So That's not a secret. Okay, iced coffee time. I'll just be lazy and do some sort of bottle coffee. Just a little bit easier to handle. Let's try this. Let's try this 7-Eleven's own bottled coffee latte. Why not?
お支払い方法をお選びください。タッチ音が鳴るまでレシートをお受け取りください。お取り忘れにご注意ください。
Okay, so let's go to the highway tunnel and sit down there and have a few sips of this coffee. What else are you saying? No deep friendship just because you're a foreigner or because in general between themselves. Yeah, I don't think it has to do that much about being foreigner. I just think in general. I think that in the greater Tokyo area, I think a lot of people are very lonely. A lot of Japanese people too. Maybe even more so than among non-Japanese. I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm just guessing here, of course. I have no data to back this up. Like when I was new to Japan, I was actively avoiding to hang out with other non-Japanese people because I felt that, well, I'm in Japan, so I should hang out with Japanese people. But after a while I felt that, yeah, it was very difficult to get really close to each other, and by itself it just happened that the more deeper friendships that I developed over the years are actually mostly with non-Japanese people these days. It's a mix though, but yeah, I generally find that it's easier to get to know other Westerners on a deeper level, and also maybe because, you know, with other Westerners we share this entire experience of being people who have made active decision to move to Japan and to settle down here and to build a life here. We have a lot of, you know, we face a lot of similar challenges, similar experiences, and it's like, for example, when I go back to Sweden, I feel sometimes that it's difficult to talk to my old Swedish friends who have never been to Japan, because they haven't experienced this thing which is a very big part of my life and my identity and who I am. And yeah, sometimes when I talk to my old friends in Sweden, it just feels like their world is much smaller in a way. Like most of them have never left Sweden, for example. Like, I mean, of course they've traveled, but they've never lived abroad. And I just think that that's an experience that becomes a very big part of who you are, and being able to share that is quite nice. Being able to talk to others who have that experience and can relate to it means, yeah, becomes quite important. So let's just have a little sit down here under this bridge and have a few sips of coffee. Take out so I have my very, very skinny laptop backpack with me today, since I'm planning to do a bit of work after this live stream. But at least I do manage to squeeze in this little extra tripod. Oh, a little bit of a wonder is already in Japan again? I didn't know that. That's nice. Might bump into him then. Just a second. Gosh. Time for a little coffee break here under this bridge. How many people we will lose during the break, much needed break. We were just about to hit the 200 mark. Wonder and Clay really love Japan a lot. Yeah. Many people do, many people do. I find it kind of interesting, like I never meet people who just like say that, yeah, I went to Japan and it was so-so. Most people, the vast majority really loves it. By the way, this coffee is not good. I do not recommend it. It tastes very artificial, and also the coffee flavor is very weak. Yeah, most people really love Japan, and if they don't, they tend to really dislike it, which is very rare though. I think I've only met 1 or 2 people who were like, oh, Japan was awful, or like I didn't like it at all. And usually those people only visited Tokyo, and they only seem to have been in the busy areas, because that's what they always complain about, that it was just too much people everywhere. How's the photography business going? Oh, it's going great. It's going great. I have 5 shoots this week, so nothing to complain about there. And we're not even in the peak autumn season yet, so I'm guessing 1 month or 1.5 months from now it will be pretty much daily shoots. It's also going very well for my wife. She quit her day job last winter and has been kind of switching over to doing full-time photography since that, and she's also having quite a lot of shoots now, so that's great. That's great.でもその後はまたちょっと涼しくなりそうですね。やっと。And Miller, you're in Japan now. 3rd time since the reopening. Great. Wow, yeah. Some of you are really coming here often. Chris, you will be based in Osaka. That's a good choice. That's a good choice. Yeah. Osaka is a very nice city, and there's so many lovely places you can easily visit on a day trip from there as well. So Osaka is great. Garfield asks, how's Minnie? She's good, she's doing well. Yeah, she's in the nursery every day. She's enjoying it there. She's learning a lot of things. They're singing and dancing and playing a lot. She's usually in a pretty good mood, even though she's in another kind of like terrible 2s, well, terrible 3s kind of period right now. So she does have the occasional meltdown when she doesn't get what she wants. But overall, I think she's a pretty happy child. Back in the clay. there that, yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like when you're in Japan as a non-Japanese, you have to accept that you will always be different, and you have to be okay with that. If you come here, live here, and expect to be treated like an equal in society, it's not really that kind of country. There are both pros and cons to that difference. There's a lot of benefits that you get as a foreigner living here too, so it's not always bad. It's like both good and bad. But for example, like I think in Sweden, most of Europe, we have this idea that everybody who moves to a country is supposed to be treated as an equal and be like a full worthy member of society. Yeah, in Japan that's not really the case. You will always be a foreigner, no matter if you lived your entire life here. Just by not looking Japanese, you will not get the same treatment. Is Koyasan worth the 3 trains and bus to get to? I don't know, I haven't been there myself actually. I would love to go there, but I haven't. So, can't say. But most people I've talked to who went there seem to have enjoyed it. Yeah, after this live stream, I definitely need to have a proper coffee somewhere. This was not. This was like a sweet milk drink with a slight hint of coffee maybe. Here, maybe next street. Did the drink at least give you a caffeine boost? I don't think so. If there was any caffeine in this, it was a very tiny amount. So it was not fulfilling my needs. No. If you expect everything to be the same as your hometown when traveling abroad, you better stay at your home. Well, I don't think that's the case. I mean, I don't think anyone comes to Japan and expect it to be like home, but I think it's reasonable to expect that you are being treated well and treated with some sort of respect and dignity. And for the most part, that's of course very true here in Japan. I feel that most people treat me very well. However, yeah, from time to time it does kind of annoy me that we are just seen as a tiny little fringe minority with very few rights here in Japan. So for example, the classical, most obvious example is how difficult it is to rent an apartment as a foreigner here. And that I do not think it's okay. That we often get denied to rent a place only because of our nationality, the fact that we are not Japanese. And that there is no enforceable, usable legal framework to protect us from that. that's like one of the classical downsides. There's a nice little coffee corner. Maybe I'll get a cup here. Yeah, I'll do that. Konnichiwa.ちょっとメニュー見ていいですか？はい。ありがとうございます。じゃあホットのカフェラテお願いします。追加で払えますか？
追加大丈夫ですか？
はい。
持ち帰りでよろしいですか？
はい、このベンチに待ってます。はい。Okay. Yeah. I felt like a hot coffee despite the fact that it's pretty hot right now, but what else are you guys saying? Japanese people walking like mad, you think? I don't think there's any particularly mad about it, but okay. So let's see, do you have any other questions? I'll be sitting here for a little while during my coffee break number 2 in 15 minutes. So happy to answer any questions you might have. Has Mini watched any Moomin? Have you guys been to the Moomin Park? Yes, she likes Moomin. And I haven't been to the Moomin Valley Park yet, but Mini went with her mom and her aunt. That was like a year ago, quite a long time ago. We're actually talking about maybe going there again soon because I kind of want to go as well. And one of her favorite songs is a Moomin song in Swedish that she sometimes wants to listen to. So yeah, she likes Moomin for sure. Have I ever been to Poland? I have, yes, one time. One time about 15, no more, 17 years ago maybe. I went to Krakow. It was a very nice, beautiful city, nice people. I had a lot of, I forgot the name, but you have this weird fast food which is like a pizza, a very basic and simple pizza with, I think, plenty of ketchup on top of it, if I remember correctly. It was nice. I would like to go again sometime. It's also the only place where I've actually been robbed. So that was the bad thing about it. This weird guy tried to rob me on the street. I was quite naive and I just pretended to not understand what he was trying to do and just walked away. Unfortunately, I did not end up with a knife in my back. But yeah, I was carrying like a lot of expensive camera gear, so I really didn't want to hand that over to him. He was asking me to give me his bag. said that he had a knife, but he didn't show it to me. Arigatou gozaimasu. Come on. Finally, proper coffee. It was an attempted robbery. He didn't succeed, so I wasn't robbed. But McDonald's cheap in Japan. It is, yeah, it is. McDonald's is, I think there is this like global Big Mac index, and I think in that, let's see if we can find it. I saw someone posting about it on Twitter quite recently. Yeah, it's the Economists. Here we have the Economist's Big Mac Index. Japan is very far down. 43.2. What does that mean? It means that compared to in the US, which is the base currency, it's currently 43% cheaper to buy a Big Mac in Japan right now. That's very cheap. But that's obviously because the dollar is very strong right now and the yen is very cheap right now. And of course there's a trash van coming to pick up the garbage just as I'm sitting here enjoying my coffee. Yes, of course. Of course there is. Many Asian families like mine can just disown you and stop talking to you based on your life choices. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think there's all kinds of families everywhere. I find that a lot of people here are actually, in Japan, people are quite tolerant. And not so easily offended. Like it's kind of weird. Like on one level, the society and people here can be quite suspicious towards foreigners, but that's usually just like foreigners as a group. I very rarely feel that people are like unfriendly or skeptical on an individual level. Yeah, the yen is very cheap now, so I'm very glad that I'm not earning my income in yen. That truck came to pick up Jari's typos. That's a good one. That's a good one. Both coffee breaks only have a few people gone. That's great. Yeah, I agree. Oh, now we're at 200 again. Nice, nice. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good place, good spot for a coffee break. At least you can do some people watching and watch the traffic passing by. It's not too boring. And this coffee is very good, by the way. The coffee. Mitsubo. tsubo is this like how do you say, measurement of area. So basically it's called, kind of very loose translation would be like 2 square meter coffee shop, because this coffee shop is in a very tiny little space. I don't remember exactly how much a tsubo is, if it's the same as one tatami or if it's like half or twice. It's something related to the tatami size measurement anyway. I am a bit surprised though. I've been streaming for an hour, over an hour, and 0 super chats today. That's a little bit disappointing, especially considering that we're talking about money now. But maybe you're all very poor after being so generous towards me at my last 4-hour live stream a few days ago. So in that sense, I guess you're apologized. But as I always say, it's the support and donations from you that keeps this channel going. If I were not making any money at all from my YouTube channel, it would be impossible for me to take the time to go on all these walks with you. So the kind support from some of you is meaning everything to this channel. Travel shows on PBS when you were growing up. I did not grow up in the US, so no, I did not. I watched some of it on YouTube as an adult, but it's okay. Are cars expensive or cheap in Japan? I don't know. I don't really have any idea about how much it costs to have a car in Japan, since I'm not interested in cars. Thank you, Rockaway Siren, finally. And thank you, Jenny, too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, my coffee expenses are now covered, so all good. You think Japan is a good environment for startups? Yes and no. Yes and no. If it's an international startup, I think it's kind of difficult to find internationally minded, competent people to work with. I think the language barrier is still a problem that hinders the growth for many Japanese companies. Also, salaries in general are quite low here in Japan, so it's good if you want to start a company and if you hire locally, if you can find like people who can work for you for way less than it would cost in Europe or US. But the other side of that coin is that those people will most likely only speak Japanese. So yes and no. There are some efforts being made to turn Japan into more of a startup hub. Especially the mayor of Fukuoka has actually done a lot to make Fukuoka a startup friendly city. So yeah, yes and no. There are pros and cons to Japan, as many other places. YouTubers in Japan or in US were already testing the latest iPhone. Looks fantastic. The reviews I've read says that basically the camera differences are pretty minor, other than that zoom lens, which to me is completely irrelevant. But the main camera quality is not really any different. And of course, if you are recording a lot of video, then being able to record in log, that's a pretty big deal. So that could be a strong reason to upgrade maybe. But I'm basically only using my iPhone for my live streams, and I don't think there would be any benefit in upgrading to that new iPhone for what I'm doing. So I'll probably not. I will stick with the iPhone 14 for another year at least. Let's see what else they say. Japanese like American brands in clothing. Yeah, I do. There's quite a few successful American brands, especially like, well, I was about to say the like luxury brands, but many luxury brands are not American though. Yeah. I don't know to be honest. Now that I think of it, like a lot of Swedish brands are successful here, but American brands I'm not sure. How did you feel about Sweden joining NATO? I feel that it's sad that we have to, but I feel that it's unfortunately the right thing to do considering what the world looks like right now and what's happening on our doorstep. Thieves remind me of Smithers from The Simpsons. Oh really? I've never really made that association, but okay. What's your favorite season in Japan? Autumn. Autumn is very nice here. Spring is nice too, of course. Everybody's crazy about the cherry blossoms. They're beautiful. It's nice. Problem is just that cherry blossom season is a little bit too short and too hectic. So it tends to end up being a bit too stressful for me. It's like when I have the highest number of requests for photo shoots, for example, which is nice, of course. It's good for my wallet, but it's also a pretty big source of stress. Autumn is much more like laid back. Autumn lasts for a long time, and it's very comfortable. Summer is of course completely disgusting here in Japan. That's why I leave Japan every summer, go to Europe. It's just too hot and humid. Winter is quite nice. Winter is nice, mostly clear weather, relatively comfortable temperatures. Almost done with my coffee now, so I will continue a little bit further down to the Mizunokuchi station, where I will wave goodbye to you and then probably find a place to sit down and get started with today's work. What's the best thing about being a foreigner in Japan? That's a good question. Most of the time, it makes it easier to meet people, especially when I'm traveling around in Japan. I often meet people who are kind of genuinely curious and want to kind of start a conversation, and you know, sometimes it ends with them inviting me to their house, or like people are generally very friendly, and especially since I can speak Japanese, it's very nice. People are very very curious. A lot of job opportunities have opened up for me just because I am a foreigner here who has lived here for a while and can speak the language and knows a bit of the culture. That's also great. Like a lot of the travels I've done throughout Japan is because many regional tourism boards want to get the Westerners' point of view about their destinations and how they can kind of promote them better to people great opportunity that has come to me thanks to being a foreigner. And I think just in general, like being able to understand more than one culture opens up a lot of opportunities, and it's something that you can use to your advantage. Same with like my photography business. You know, there's so many photographers in Japan. There's thousands and thousands of really talented Japanese photographers, but they are just targeting the Japanese market. I'm targeting the non-Japanese market in Japan, and that has turned out to be a pretty good business decision for me. So yeah, a lot of things like that. Coffee rating. Oh, it was very tasty. Very tasty. I would say 4 out of 5. Nothing to complain about, really. Okay, so I will take my trash. Hopefully I can find a place to throw it away, and then I will return this. After speaking Japanese for so long, are there still any parts of Japanese that you're struggling with? Oh yes. I mean, to be honest, my Japanese is not good. It's, considering how long I've lived here, it should be much better. When I first came here and started studying, my initial plan was to study for 2 years, which is like what a lot of people do to get to like a good enough level as quickly as possible. I only studied for 1 year, and yeah, now 10 plus years later, I do kind of regret that, because there are still a lot of things that I'm struggling with. I'm not good at, you know, writing, business, like anything business level, business oriented. It makes me very, very uncomfortable. Also things like going to the hospital, talking to a doctor, anything that requires more kind of deeper knowledge about a specific subject, then I often lack the vocabulary for that, to do that confidently. So yeah, there are still like things, small interactions happening every day where I fail to understand some small but maybe important detail. And where I'm currently at in my life, it's just a bit it's very difficult for me to find the time to invest in improving that. And also, since I'm getting older, it's getting more difficult to learn a language. You know, when I was in my mid-20s, it was much easier. Now I'm 40 plus, and my brain is just not as good at absorbing new languages anymore. So have you thought about going back to learning Japanese? I have not, no. I mean, I've thought about it, of course. But it's just, doing that would mean that I have to sacrifice something else. I would have to stop doing YouTube. I would have to quit my job. I would have to stop doing photo sessions. Something to free up more time. And I guess I just enjoy all those things too much, and I enjoy making money. So yeah, that's for now, no plans. see what else he's saying. Oil season は京都に行きますか？いや、今は京都行く予定ないです。残念ながら行きたいけど時間がないし、あと最近京都ちょっと人が多すぎる。ちょっと行きたくない実は。We're at Mizonokuchi station. I will just head over to the opposite side of the station and find a good place, a good spot to wave goodbye to you. Your wife can be your best teacher and free too. I don't think she wants to be my teacher, to be honest. She's not the kind of person who enjoys teaching. And she's more like, she just gets annoyed with me when I don't understand things. So no, if I was serious about learning Japanese, I would pay some professional to do it. I think that's the best way. So much for another wonderful live stream. Thanks for watching, Justin. Thank you. And thanks everybody else for watching. As always, your support means a lot to me. Just watch children's cartoons. Oh, I do watch the children's show every morning with my daughter, for example. We have some Japanese children's TV on. I think my Japanese is a little bit above that level though, so I'm not really learning much new from watching that. Like I said, like the basic, everyday, normal spoken Japanese is it's fine. It's as soon as you get more into like specific subject that you need to dig into more detail, that's when I don't have the necessary vocabulary. So for example, watching the news or the news is still a bit of a challenge for me. I understand like maybe 80% of it, but it's those last 20% that's kind of like, that's the details. I understand that someone got arrested. I understand that it was because of, I don't know, some violence or some, I don't know, financial misconduct, but I don't understand exactly what happened, the details. That's the challenge. Anyway, I think this is a good place with a nice view to wave goodbye. So thanks everybody for joining me today. It was a nice little morning walk, and I'm not sure when my next walk will be. I am going to Yokohama tomorrow. If I have some time to spare, I will try to do a walk there. But I have 2 photo sessions tomorrow, so it might be tough. Otherwise, yeah, probably next weekend. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye. Hej då. Auf Wiedersehen. Und mata ne.